So I would like to announce our next session, and the session will be moderated by Hélène Chraye. She's the Deputy Director of the Clean Hydrogen Planet. So she's the right hand of Rosalinde, as you met Rosalinde van der Vlies this morning, the director. Well, she's the strong lady behind Rosalinde, and she will help us to get to know everything what the Commission is doing or what the private side is doing around skills and education. Hélène, please, the floor is yours, and yeah, I think you will welcome your panelists one by one. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I am in the Clean Planet. I know Clean Planet is hydrogen only for you, but it's Clean Planet. So may I invite the honorable panelists to join me, please? So I would like to welcome them. So first, Patrick Cnubben. Patrick is active in the domain of hydrogen for more than 15 years. Wow. I'm not active in hydrogen for that amount of time, so you impressed me. Is focusing on the realization of innovations and large-scale investment in the field of green molecules. He's also a member, and that's very important, of the executive board of the Dutch National LNG Platform. Then I have with me also Jorgo Chatzimarkakis, who is, of course, have a long career in hydrogen, but also is the CEO of Hydrogen Europe. And you know that Jorgo is at the origin of what you have seen these 3 days. So thank you very much. It's impressive, by the way.
Thank you.
And we have also with us Robert Steinberger-Wilckens from the University of Birmingham. Welcome.
Thank you.
Representing the research, distinguished professor of fuel cell and hydrogen research in chemical engineering. And last but not least, and unfortunately by only remotely, we have Ms. Ankica Kovač. Do I pronounce it well?
Yes, perfect.
So assistant professor at the University of Zagreb in the Faculty of Mechanical Engineering and Naval Architecture from Croatia. So you see that we are gender balanced, country balanced, very nice. So this is a panel on skills. A few things to say on the organization. Dear panelists, I will be tough on timing. You know it. Then you can hate me after. But you will have to follow the timing. The second is we will have Slido and questions. The panelists will do a very short introduction, and then we will go to questions. I would like to recap, just as an introduction, why we are here today. In the basic act, in the legal basis of the joint undertaking has the obligation to organize workshops with scientists, with researchers, and of course with industry, to propose, to assess the main challenges and to propose options or solutions or ways for the joint undertaking work program. So we are here to discuss on what are the challenges and the possible options or solutions for skills, and to help the joint undertaking to design that for the future. This is extremely important. So I would like to ask the panelists to focus on that, and in a way I would like to extract their intelligence and knowledge, and that we can give to the joint undertaking very good approaches and solutions. And now I need to stop speaking, and I will give the floor to the first introductory speech, very short again. So, sorry guys, ladies first, if you agree. Okay, so Ms. Kovač, please.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, and thank you for having me, and thank you for this nice introduction. I'm really honored to be today with you and to discuss about skills. This is the important wheel in our process as we see climate changes are here and decided to stay. So what do we need? We need to upskill our knowledge and upgrade our knowledge and to do some upskilling processes. And also if we see this energy crisis today, this need to be a trigger and pushing the back for the new knowledge that we need to adapt and that we need to arise our horizons in that way. And also this is a great panel, I would like to say, because European Union announced 2023 year as a year of skills. So we need to use this and to by the end of the next year to see together what we did and to be proud of ourselves. Because this is a great event, European Hydrogen Week, to upgrade the knowledge about hydrogen, about fuel cells, and about this technology that is the key of energy transition. We need people, we need educated people on all levels of education, and in that sense, that knowledge can be transferred to the industry and vice versa. And here I will stop, okay, because I can talk about hydrogen for hours, so I will stop here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So may I ask now Jorgo to continue?
Yes, thanks, Hélène. Thanks for the opportunity, and also thanks for taking part as a commission in this Hydrogen Week. Thanks for the nice words that you said, and I think the exhibition, but also this conference here shows that we need something like that, and we should do it next year again. So if everything goes right, we will convene here again next year in November, 20 to 24 of November, to continue, maybe make it even bigger, because it's, to be honest, much bigger than I thought when we started to plan it. Well, with regards to our topic, the joint undertaking, and Hélène, you are co-responsible as Hydrogen Europe Research is and Hydrogen Europe Industry is for the joint undertaking that has started already to dwell upon skills. I mean, we have to acknowledge that we are now facing a big transition, basically replacing fossil energy by non-fossil energy, or by turning fossil energy into decarbonized energy. That needs new skills. That needs also skills in the technologies that are follow-up technologies, like fuel cell. So a fuel cell can work with hydrogen or with derivatives of hydrogen. And we are thinking about approximately 1 million new jobs until 2030. 1 million new jobs. The point here is, and we face that at the moment, we have not enough people at the moment to deal with existing technologies like renewables. There are not enough people. It's also because there was not enough respect for certain handicraft jobs, not enough respect. And I think we understand now during the crisis that we need to show more respect to vocational training, not only to studying things, but to vocational training. And this is something that I would like to say ethically first. When it comes to curricula, there we need this exchange of industry with partners in the valleys, in the hydrogen valleys. Patrick will talk about that. And of course in your universities. Robert will here take the floor. Here, by the way, is the co-chair of our dedicated working group. We have a working group at Hydrogen Europe that is dealing with skills and cooperating very much with the Commission, because what we do is we have more than 430 members, and it's still growing. Most of them are industrial members. They know exactly which skills will be needed. And here we have to have this exchange with dedicated partners, and that's what we do. So happy to sit here on the panel, and we'll give you some further information later on.
I'm sure. I'm always happy to get intelligence from others. I have no myself. I just build on the others. Okay, let's go by alphabetical order to Patrick. 2 minutes?
I will keep to the time, Hélène. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you to the Clean Hydrogen Partnership to give me this opportunity to elucidate somewhat more on the skills potential. And as Jorgo already said, I will not repeat that. That makes it easier. I think looking at the challenges we face, we need renewables, we need technology, and we need people to operate this technology. Without good people, and it's also good to mention them, they are craftsmen. These are the new craftsmen which make this technology work and keep it in operation. And that's what we need to focus on. It's not only academics, it's the whole spectrum of this learning curve, which we need to work on hard and tremendously. And I would also like to call upon all the institutions to collaborate and not fight for the students, but open up and help them find their way. And I think, look at this exhibition. Hydrogen is sexy. We have a rock star already. It is tremendously sexy. Look at all these installations. We need young, skilled people and reskilled, let's say, matured professionals to do the job. So I think I'll leave it to that. It's about skilling up.
Thank you. So now the challenge will be not only on the industry, but on universities. Very much, as it was also explained by Mrs. I'm sorry, names and me, we are not friends. Kovač. I hope, again, I pronounce it well. And you surely know that it's not only for research and innovation, it's also, there is a big project under Erasmus+, which has begun in July, which is very important because it looks at jobs themselves. So would you continue and tell us what the academia would do?
Okay, I don't know too much about that Green Hydrogen for Skills. We're not part of it. But so thanks for the invitation first, and thanks for August for organizing this really large event, which I guess next year will grow even more as people recognize the value. So essentially, within Hydrogen Europe, we have one representative from Hydrogen Europe industry, one from research. So we're the two co-chairs in the skills working group. And I'm not quite sure whether by coincidence or not, it was established just at the right time when the European Commission started an initiative on upskilling and skill development, and we'll have the year of skills next year. So it's perfectly set in time. And as a university, of course, we do training in hydrogen and fuel cells. We established a master's program, which we are currently running in the second year. It's the only master program in Europe that gives you a qualification in fuel cells and hydrogen, so a full qualification, not just a specialization. But that is essentially the university side of things. We are also using this material for continuous professional development or vocational training, VET, and are talking to industry a lot on what the skills needs are. It's a bit difficult to talk to industry because essentially currently industry is complaining that there's no applicants and that these applicants are asking for a lot of money, which is capitalism, it's supply and demand. And you can just say, well, if you never invested, you'll never reap the benefits. So the one thing we have been doing for 15 years since the joint undertaking was first established in 2007 was asking for investment in education, and it's been a very, very difficult task. Most of the time it's always been far too little and also essentially far too late. There's much more that has to be done, and even for preparation of the next call, the education topics are always being reduced because there's other more important things. But industry is already recognizing that something has to be done. and we just need this investment. And out of the material we have for university students, we're also developing all the CPD, so the continuous professional development things. There is an overlap. There's a desire to have things for free on the internet. That doesn't work that way. You need a qualified degree. And currently, essentially, one big topic is micro-credentials. So having a system of how you can get a qualified whatever certificate across Europe, not only for universities, which is the Bologna ECTS, but also in professional development.
Well, a difficult issue. Going back, I mean, some words I took from these introductory speeches. And then, please, for the audience, we have Slido. So join at slido.com with the reference. I mean, could we put on the screen, maybe? Yes. Begin to, now that we have finished the preliminary, let's say, the introductory speeches, begin to put maybe some further questions. Time we exchange on first 2 or 3 challenges. So what I got from what I heard is transition first. And transition means to be sure to reach the goal and to do it quicker. Because what the crisis means is that we do it quicker. And also the other point was to do on all, vocational, education, training, retraining, all. So if I raise to you this question in a few words, what would you flag, highlight as a real way to accelerate availability of skilled people in order that the EU industry, for instance, could keep its leading role in hydrogen technologies? So I begin again with you. Anka?
Yes, thank you. As I already mentioned at the beginning, we need education at all levels. So we need upskilling on all levels in our schools, primary schools, high schools, universities. So let's start from the beginning. In elementary school, we should learn more about water, more about renewables, that is clean energy. And later in the high school, we should show what the processes and devices that connect it look like, and also to see for the benefit of our development, and also to raise awareness about importance to adopt to the climate change. Let's be honest, all about we are talking about hydrogen, about energy transition, about renewables. It's all about CO2 emission. Currently, we are in the time with rapid increase of CO2 and temperature, and if we just pick the burning point of temperature, no one knows what can happen. So we still have time. We still have time to adopt, to change our minds. So it's a complex knowledge. So the knowledge and the education adopts to the new technologies, as we already heard. We have new technology, and we need new knowledge, and we need people. The people are strength of each stage, of each technology, and of each process. So we have a new paradigm of education in which a strong moral component is needed. So we need to be responsible to the people, and the most important to the earth that we live on, and. So we have indeed knowledge about knowledge, if you want. So we need to educate our national, regional authorities to be aware of the importance of this technology. We should go fast. We still have time, but we don't have that time to just sit and wait what will happen. So this is what we are what we are trying to do it in Croatia, and this knowledge should be decentralized. So as well as energy, as well as you want food production and everything. We should decentralize the knowledge to be connected worldwide, so we can achieve the final goal of climate neutrality by 2050. So there is an accent on knowledge, on upskilling, and that is all about we are talking about this. We need the new courses, Professor. Congratulations on your course. So we need new courses at the faculties, not just at one place. We need it around Europe. So we need to move ourselves, and this is where I see also Clean Hydrogen Partnership to push the members, to push the states, to to secure some funding, because it will cost. Cost, and we need education on all levels, policy, industry, and the public. It's important to educate also public. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I will transfer the challenge to Jorgo, because the joint undertaking is planning, for instance, to develop more on skills, building on this Erasmus+, which is running. And about funds, by the way, there are a lot of EU funds giving money for the moment, maybe not enough. That's another story. So what, as representing really the industry, what would you need the GU to do? You are a member of this joint undertaking. So how would you recommend to orient the work in order to tackle with the needs and the emergency?
Yeah, first of all, this Erasmus Plus here, specialized on these green skills, is a combination of industrial partners and regional partners. And this is important. We just heard that decentralized approaches are extremely valuable and important. On the other hand, because there's no one size fits all. There's not only fuel cell and electrolyzers. So there are many, many ways that lead to Rome. We have to deal also with other forms of hydrogen production, like pyrolysis. To give one example, pyrolysis, hydrogen from waste. This is something which is very, very important. But what we need is centers of reference. So what you are doing is extremely important, because you are moving ahead. But at the same time, we need to transfer this knowledge also to the regions. How can we do that? And here we have an idea that we would like to share and would like to bring to you. That's a European Hydrogen Academy. Don't be worried, it's not challenging any university. It's based on the model that we know from the European Institute of Technology. So you have basically a European hub that is bringing together universities, applied science universities, knowledge centers, and gives, so to say, the opportunity to create one, not central curriculum, but one hub of knowledge to inspire curricula in the regions or in the member states. It depends how vocational training and education is organized. So it's a combination of a centralized gathering of knowledge and a decentralized approach of applying that. And to be honest, we need to do it very fast. We don't have time to lose. That's why we would thank the initiatives that have been put up by the European Commission, but also by the joint undertaking. We are part of it. So we, together with the industry, we want to accelerate this process under the headline European Hydrogen Academy. Again, no threat. It's the opposite. It's an invitation to you guys to come together and to form this as soon as possible. Following the idea of Mrs. von der Leyen, next year will be the year of skills. Let's build up not only the Hydrogen Bank, but also the Hydrogen Academy very, very soon.
We strongly support, by the way, this approach on skill in the European Commission. Patrick, I mean, you are very prominent in hydrogen valleys. Do you have, I mean, the question is very tricky. I mean, do you find easily the skills? What would you need us to do at all levels to help you accelerate hydrogen valleys?
Well, thank you for the question, and I will also relate to what Jorgo said. We need to skill people, that's clear, and we need to have the skilled people there faster rather than later. It's we need to have electrolyzers, so we need to scale up, speed up, and skill up. We need to do that. And in our region, in the Hydrogen Valleys, we are very much looking into also how to keep the systems in operation. So we need skilled people, young people. And there is an initiative we have in the region called Hydrogen Valley Campus Europe. It's in the region and it's not a centralized thing, it's decentralized. We will have several hubs where the technology is available to teach, let's say, the to-be skilled people in handling this equipment, to maintain it, but also to be curious and see how it works. It needs to break in order to fix it. Then you learn. So that's what we're going to do, and that's something we would also like to propose to, let's say, the European Hydrogen Academy, which I think is a superb idea. Ticks all the boxes. The skills year coming up, and I think we need to do that in more regions in Europe, and our region is very much interested in donating this knowledge we have. Because if you can't share, you can't multiply. It's very simple, and we need the people. So we need to do everything we can, and we need to piggy ride all the instruments the Commission offers. We need to use it all.
I would say also all the instruments the member states are offering, by the way.
Indeed.
Because if I compare the budget...
Very, very true.
No, it's not a critic, but just an addition, because it leads me to Robert, and I was very interested by what you said about the right of education, of what it means really. Let's enter in a more conflictual way. We need two things. We need to design the education or training which is needed for the transition, and especially on hydrogen, but we also need that people can access to this education and training, and that's two different things. And the second one is usually a prerogative of the member states, more than an EU prerogative. We make links, but we don't impose anything on that. So how would you, taking that into account, what would you recommend in order that the dissemination of this knowledge on hydrogen at all levels, from engineers to technicians to maintenance, would be as quickly as humanly possible?
We have to take that in stages. So the first thing is there's plenty of knowledge around, and there's been many projects over the years. The problem is the sustainability. So we have one project that I set up in 2010-12, which was the summer school creation. Summer school will be running the 20th time next year. And this year we had 106 students. It's publicly available. This year we sold out. In the years before, we could have always used more students. So I think one of the problems is the attractivity. So I've trained 100 PhD students in Birmingham now. The program is now running out, the funding. They all got a job in the fuel cell and hydrogen industry before they've even finished, which is a pain in the back. So they have a job before they submit. So it takes ages. So I think the main thing is for industry to signal there are job opportunities, which has only happened the last 2 years, kind of. Before that, it wasn't clear there will be careers. And once you have that in place, you have to encourage people to get involved. So essentially, yes, we need more money to invest into more universities delivering this, but we also need stipends. If you want to get people into an area, you need to pay them 500 euros a month, which can be small money, but it is a huge encouragement for a young person leaving school and deciding whether they go into vocational training, take an apprenticeship, taking a bachelor's or a master's, or even a PhD. It's a small investment of maybe 50,000 euros into a career or education of 3 years, but it will pay back big style. So it's a different kind of thinking. I'm not even sure the European Commission is in a place to do this, because it's probably more member states. But that is a different way of viewing things. So as I said before, it's a bit tedious talking to industry about skill sets because industry doesn't really know or comes up with the same answers. You have to talk to the future employees, what they need. And one of them will be encouragement, so financially an incentive, and the other will be, yes, here is a big industry that is waiting for you, and your skills will give you a career. And just to just as a comment, I co-wrote the text for the Hydrogen Academy, so we're in the right place here. And just one last sentence. So the Hydrogen Academy, the idea is not to, again, have everything in one place and free education, which doesn't give you a degree. It is the network of university that will deliver. And the next step then has to be an umbrella over vocational training and university training and schools, bringing everything together and giving you access. So the access, whereas essentially you were asking the access to where is this training, where is the one closest to me, what will it cost me, that is important. What do we do about audience questions?
Yeah, I'm looking at the audience question, and first of all, if the organizer could put it black on something and not white on something, because I'm sorry to say that a substantial share of the EU population face difficulties to read white on colors. I need to reiterate that because I belong to this part of the population, so it's very difficult for me. You saw me looking at it. Handicap is bothering, huh? Handicap is a problem. Before we go to the chat, and I have one issue, one question still, before we go to the chat. No, sorry. Sorry, no, I cannot read that, I'm afraid. So you have a question, Mark, please.
Yeah, sorry, it's
to the audience.
Not virtual, so directly. Ankica, Technical University of Denmark, we are all acknowledging we need to accelerate education, and I think that we are very strong in university research centers in Hydrogen Europe that can carry out and have been doing that. Robert is one good example at university level. However, do we really have all the stakeholders in place to educate people, as Ms. Kovač said, from the school level? Do we have the right people partnering the stakeholders on board to educate young people in schools, high schools, technical schools? I can see there is maybe a lack from this side, because I think we are very strong in educating students, bachelor, master, PhD, what with professionals. I'm also very much engaged in dissemination in these projects, and it is actually always a difficult part to reach out to those levels, professionals, vocational training, because that is not the expertise of those that are part of the Hydrogen Europe typically. So how can we get them on board, and do we have them on board maybe?
Yes.
So just in parentheses, could you use more Slido? I see Slido is a bit lazy for the moment. More questions, more like on some questions. And then I give the floor to Jorgo, please.
Yes, first of all, it's absolutely, you hit the right point. This year we can organize easier. And you said we are in Europe, academia, we are in Europe quite advanced, we are good. But how to transfer it to vocational training and even to high school or even to school? And I think the Hydrogen Academy as a knowledge hub could influence that process by, well, talking also to regional and national politicians or policymakers with regards to education, because we need to start much, much earlier than at this stage here. So we need to have all layers somehow on it. And as you said, Hydrogen Europe is possibly not affected. We are, because most of our members have trainees, do vocational training. What they need is also a curriculum for the profile of these new jobs. And that's where we need to work together with academia to set this up. I'm very confident that once this process started, it started in preliminary phases, this will be the case. But to see then the enthusiast faces, I was once in the northern region of the Netherlands where your valley is active, to see students over there, and you attract not only students from university but also others, to see these young people being enthusiastic. That encouraged me also to continue. So there is a big interest, so we just need to organize it. Yeah. We are on it.
And I can I add something? It's about, let's say, reaching this group, and not discriminating boys and girls. We need to reach out to them and make it interesting. For instance, we had a race, that's a world championship for carts, little carts, on hydrogen in a sporting hall. It attracts hundreds of young people who are interested in the race, but also in the technology. And this technology is attainable. It's not something which is far off. It works, you can touch it, you don't get an electric shock, and it's enthusiasm which rules. So we need to reach out, and we, as, let's say, professionals, need to reach out to young people. And we are thinking about, let's say, having traineeships for these young people, take them along to industries, to factories, etc., because they need to be aware that there is a future in it for them. It's not only about sitting behind a desk working on a computer program. This is far more sexy, working on something which works, which drives, which keeps you in movement and contributes to climate change, combating climate change, and all the other things we do. So it's about reaching out. It's up to us all.
Well,
There's one gentleman.
let's go to. First of all, I would like to ask Ankica, sorry, because also you are in university, and how do you see what is clear from the panel is that we need more imbrication between the industry and the academia to adjust it. So shortly, do you want to add something on that?
Yes, thank you. I would like to stress out that education is the core of everything, of business, of state growth. It is the core of the life. So there is no growth without collaboration between three main wheels. It's academia, it's industry, and it's policy. Just as if we are working together, we can reach our goals that we are talking here about it. What we are doing in Croatia, we launched spring training on the hydrogen and fuel cells, and here we had also support of Clean Hydrogen Partnership, where we organized numbers of lectures, especially for the industry, and interest was huge. So we need more events like this in each state. This was open, of course, widely to the all states, but we need more events like this because as we heard, hydrogen is a hot topic. It's a sexy today, really, and it's on the highest level of interest today. I would dare to say that everyone would like to be involved in hydrogen technology, in that business, but they don't know how. It is not a question if we should collaborate. It is the question as we have to collaborate. So the universities are home of knowledge. When you have some problem in the industry, you can act like there is no need for collaboration, and you can try to fix your problem there by yourself and your employees. But at the end, you will need the help when the problem occurs. What will you do? You will say, okay, go to the university. There are professors. There is experience, and they can solve. If anyone can solve the problem, professors at the university can solve the problem, because they spend their whole life with education to learn. I'm learning every day. So it is really necessary to boost this collaboration and to educate industry that this collaboration is really necessary because technology is developing fast, and today we have a difference between developed state and undeveloped state regarding the technology, because the smart state invest in technology. They boost collaboration between industry and universities, and somewhere it's a condition. Take university as a partner. I think it will cost. Okay, industry will.
I need to ask you to shorten a bit, that we have questions from the audience.
Okay, I will end. Sorry. It is not industry will ask how much will it cost. It's not. We should forget the cost, because no one says it will cheap, and it will not be cheap, but this is the price that we have to pay, and we with this to secure our lives and to adapt to the challenge of this climate change. So it's necessary to involve industry, and as soon as the industry figure it out about the importance of this collaboration, the process will be faster. Thank you.
So. Very clear that we need the cooperation with industry, not only at the level of students, but at the level of trainers and teachers, and that appears clear. We have questions in the audience now.
Yeah, it's Michael Walter from DVGW, the German Technical and Scientific Association for Gas and Water. Oh. I need to learn it again with a micro. I hope you can understand me. First, it's a very important discussion we have here. Second, I would like to say that DVGW is doing the vocational training also for industry. What we are facing is that we do not have the craftsmen anymore. So what can we do on all levels to convince students at school level not to go or to pursue the academic career? Also to go to be a craftsman.
Hey, but
I think this is an important thing we have to tackle.
The value of craftsman, craftswoman, craftshuman, something like that. Yes, I fully agree with you. I have personally full respect for the jobs I'm not able to do. But in our society, usually they are less well paid, which is a question of money somewhere. Jorgo.
Yes, I think the easiest thing is to pay better, and also to pay more attention to the level of education, to acknowledge it has the same. And now I need to come to the word that you used, respect. In French it's estimer, estimation. In German it's Wertschätzung. This is missing. We miss that. And now that we see that we have a shortage, it's like interrupting a supply chain. We are shocked. But we all respect these crafts people not enough. We don't do it. And that's what it's a societal issue. Huh? It's a societal issue that we acknowledge very much academia, industry, but that's not it. So it's a societal issue to show more respect. At the same time, policymakers could put it on the same level. So if you are a craftsman, so in Germany you have a very, very good system with Meister, you have a title, you get a title. You should have access to academia. If you have this title, you should have access, even if you don't have access by school, by your school degree. And this is the first step, the easiest step to do it, in order to show estimation, to show this estimation, Wertschätzung. But we could start in the hydrogen field. We could make this, in this Hydrogen Academy, one of the starting points that we level out a little bit more these different degrees and to, well, show more respect to each other, because if we don't do it, we will delay this process of transition by far. So thanks very much for your question. It's a very relevant question.
It's a very big one, yes. Thank you for having picked my word respect, because I really owe respect to craft people. Because I'm very clumsy myself, so I will not be able to do it. But in Erasmus Plus project, the jobs which are selected, the 19 ones, as the main jobs for hydrogen, they include technicians. It's not scientists or engineers limited. So I would like to go, do you want to add something on that? And then I would like to put the academia into question on that. What would you do on developing this? So first.
Well, I think I do fully agree. It's about appreciation of the skill. You know, an academic does academic things, and a craftsman does craftsman things, which they need each other. So we need to have, let's say, a system of. I do agree that if you're a craftsman, you should have access to academia by the skill you have, and that's so valuable. So that we also give a sufficient appreciation, respect, to these jobs. If they're not there, we have a big problem. Suppose you're on a boat, on a hydrogen boat in the middle of the ocean, and the thing doesn't work. You have a very big problem. So we need to give the people respect, and respect drives people to jobs. It's not only about the money, it's also about the respect. That's what I would say.
Yeah, and so what can do the academia as a whole? Not only the universities, all the academia. How can they cope with that?
We are already, because we have had a project from 2015 to 2017 training technicians. So level 6, which is sort of trained technician. And we established in 2017 an online blended learning program for technician training in hydrogen and fuel cells, which essentially we still run with Kiva and University of Groningen. So there's still activities going on. It's a bit slow currently, and obviously it has to be refurbished with all the experience we had in COVID and the also input from the master program we now have, which is a lot online. But essentially we have this offering for technicians. I just want to say that if you talk about respect for workforce, it depends on which country you're in. So in the UK, everybody studies because you can't get a vocational degree. So what I keep pushing in the skills working group is this idea of having micro-credentials for vocational training. In Germany, it's completely different. If you have a Meister, essentially you could, it's the same as a bachelor degree. You could go to university and get a master's. So there is some sort of portability already. It's not so in the UK because, of course, in the UK, if you gave somebody a degree, you would have to pay them properly. So in order to prevent that, you don't give them a degree, so you just give them peanuts. So other European countries will be somewhere in between. Most of them grant degrees. You have to have a vocational training degree, which gives you a qualification because you will be doing something that is safety relevant. And I predict that this will be the most valuable asset when we set up, so for instance with DVGW, a European program on training in hydrogen safety. So if you are a plumber or if you service a hydrogen vehicle, you will have to safely handle a hydrogen installation, and you will need a certificate for that. And the framework for that does not yet exist. And that's something we're now working on.
So if I begin to build on what has been said, and meanwhile I would ask the audience if they have other questions. I see that there are first the question of VET overall, then the question of accelerating it, because we are far from having the workforce we need and the competent one. Third, a question on how to ensure, if we develop, let's say, trainings and so on, sustainability. And fourth, a harmonization, a mutual recognition, where on the two last ones, the EU and the national levels could play a strong role. So what would you ask us to do through the GU and outside of the joint undertaking? Because this is the question also at stake. Okay, it's nice, we know the challenge. So now, how? That was a question in the chat. How are we going to act?
We need European degrees.
European and national.
So nations have to agree on co-assigning degrees. As with university, it's difficult enough with a second university or third university having a joint degree. That's a pain in the back, but we need that across all the European nations.
Bologna process specifically fitting for hydrogen?
For vocational training, yes.
So concretely, we build up this academy. If you ask me, it should be a project for the Franco-German engine, which at the moment has a little bit of a problem. Let's do it, Franco-German initiative for a European Hydrogen Academy next year, first half of next year. And then this academy gives the possibility to a trainer, to vocational education, to give this degree that then gives you the right to access academia, but it's a European degree, which is given by the regional authority, but it's a European degree. So it's very simple. Let's start with hydrogen. Why not? It's, as you say, the sexy thing. So let's start with hydrogen to push it also for other vocational trainings. Huh? So this should not be limited to hydrogen, but we could, as always, be the starting point.
It will take 5 years minimum.
May I give you the example of the European schools? where there are still a lot of discrepancy for mutual recognition by the member states. I'm not speaking about the others. But apart from that, would it match your needs if we accelerate the mutual recognition and that, for instance, one of the ideas is to have a kind of overall recognized degree which is on technicians, on the implementing people, on the professionals we need?
I think I think it could be very, very useful because it gives an appreciation to the job that raises the job. Because nowadays, you shouldn't look down on these people. They are essential. They are equal. And if you can't screw a nut on a bolt, you have a very problem. So we need to give them a kind of appreciation. Maybe a degree is a very good thing. And if it works, it works. And it may take long, but you could also try to have some pilots and take the best of the learnings of these pilots. Our region is very much up to that. And as I said, if you can't share, you can't multiply. So we need to do it. We mustn't wait. Action.
Yeah, we can build on the experience of the industry to determine this type of jobs we need. That will be useful.
Just offer something. So I've been part of EUREC, that's European Renewable Energy whatever, for the last nearly 20 years now, because in Oldenburg at my university we were part of that when it started 35 years ago or so. And that is a European program in renewable energy, and there's a second one in renewable energy management, and we want to add our FUSA program as a third one. That is a European degree. Well, it's a European program, it's not a European degree. And what I'm talking about is not just degrees, it's also qualification. So you don't get a certificate of participation in a course, you get an actual qualification. You get a certificate that says, I am a trained technician in hydrogen safety relevant installations. I'm a trained technician in servicing hydrogen vehicles. I'm a trained technician in, and then you can go on like that. That is a qualification. It's difficult to say what it is, a qualified certificate or a qualification, but something that is recognized across Europe. And that is really difficult because every member state will have its own rulings, and sort of investing into that sort of leveling up, it would be really more valuable than money even.
So in a way, we should build a skills alliance between the industry, the EIT, for instance, the European Institute for Technology, the academia, represented by, I mean, we have to look at, supported by us, and really trying to discuss with especially the member states and the regional authorities to develop that. That could be an input for the joint undertaking, for instance.
And it's not necessarily industry, it's the chambers of commerce.
Okay.
Because they are the ones who grant the qualifications.
Fine, that will be a wonderful Christmas gift. Huh?
I like this word, huh? Skills alliance. Skills alliance.
Skills alliance, yes.
Bravo.
You see, sometimes the Commission is useful. So, on the audience, I see we have questions. Yes. Still have time for it.
Yes. Hello, my name is Jarek Milewski. I am from Warsaw University of Technology from Poland. I would like to first thank you for this initiative. From the high university point of view, I'm very looking forward because from my personal experience to establish new hydrogen faculty, it takes, like Robert said, 5 years or even more. But when we have this academia, hydrogen academia, we can select, let's say, scientists or professors, professionals from different faculties, because some material scientist has no idea that he is in hydrogen, because we work on composites. We can use those composites as the, let's say, hydrogen storage carriers, and we can select those experts and those people and those umbrella of this hydrogen academia. This will be much, much easier for me to organize this kind of the team that building the course or faculty from the scratch. Yes, that I would very, I'm looking very forward, and I'm very promising that this can give me some tools to build some community on the high education level as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Does one of you know? I think it's a good input. And the time is running, so I'm afraid if no other question on the audience? Yes, please. And that will be the last one, I'm afraid.
Yeah, thank you very much for the organization of this panel. Henning Ernstein, my name. I work in the Commission's Department for the Internal Market and Industry. I'm in charge there of professional qualifications and skills. And it's a very interesting debate I've been following here. I just wanted to add as an input to the discussion that what happens in other professions is that member states agree minimum common training requirements, and where university or other courses meet these minimum requirements, you have an automatic recognition of that qualification that allows people that have been awarded a certificate in a course meeting these requirements to work anywhere in the EU. So what it takes for that is that minimum training requirements or the similar tools for this are being agreed by member states and then implemented in the national education systems. This is indeed a mechanism that is used in many professions and maybe something you may want to consider in this area here as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Again, the Commission is useful, huh? Sometimes. Okay, it's time to conclude. I will ask each of the panelists if, I love these questions. Suppose that you are in the Berlaymont and you miss, you are meeting Mrs. von der Leyen in the lift. So you have the time of the lift, 15 to 30 seconds, to tell her what is really, really critical. Just like that, 30 seconds, each of you. And I will check the time. So, first, lady. So, Ankica, please.
Thank you very much. I just can conclude that I'm glad that we put on the stage this the importance of the skills of the university and of the collaboration between all of us, so we can faster this energy transition in the right way, and to pay attention and to be sure to educate people. People are the strength of the progress. So we need technicians, we need high school people, we need doctoral students, we need specialists in all area of this transition. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Jorgo.
Mrs. von der Leyen, Europe wants to be competitive. The hydrogen train has gone, has moved. Europe is still leading, but if we don't put the same impetus on the skills like we put on the hydrogen bank, your baby, your newest, latest baby, then we will lose track. So put your impetus also on hydrogen skills and the Hydrogen Academy. Correct?
Okay. Patrick?
Well, I would say, Madam President, hydrogen rocks. Hydrogen works. Invest in skills. Invest in this Hydrogen Academy, this European Hydrogen Academy, over the whole spectrum of education, from the young people, the vocational, to the academic level.
And?
Okay, so we need a network of institutions that will be rolling out the education. Education is the basis for all the industry to also to blossom. We need the access to these networks, and in the end we'll need stipends, we'll need real financial investment into technicians, training into students and into academia. And that is a new idea, I think, that will have to be discussed. So really giving people a monetary incentive to move into this area. That will be stronger than anything else.
Okay, and on my side I will say we have all the means to do it and to help at the European level, but just give us your policy support to do this association and accelerate. So with that words, thank you very much. Thanks to the panelists who have been great, really. I would like that you applaud the panelists, please.
And I would like to also ask a warm applause for our moderator, Hélène Craye, Deputy Director General of the Clean Planet Directorate in DG RTD. Thank you very much. This was a wonderful panel. I enjoyed it very much, and a fantastic moderation as well. And I think we have an enormous support for the European Hydrogen Academy. This is a very, very good start. If you have good support, you are already halfway. Yeah? So anyway, now it's time to eat something. So there is a lunch served outside. We will start again at 2:30 here. And it will be another very, very interesting panel, I promise you. See you then.